Hello everyone, welcome to my second vlog. I still don't have a name for it, so it's just me and my stories. I think most of the stories are going to be about my children and my family because that's what I do as a stay-at-home mom. But the story I want to share with you today has to do with my oldest daughter, Brooke. About 3 years ago, she was in 6th grade and wanted to try out for student council. And so she came home and I helped her write her little speech, and we were talking about it. And at that time, I had been meditating on Mark 11:24 that says that whatever you ask for in prayer, believing that you've received it, you will get it. And it had just been so deep in my heart and my mind. And so I shared it with Brooke. And I said, you know what, Brooke, we're going to pray in faith, believing that you will receive it and you will get it. And so I pumped her up with faith and gave her the verse. I think I even wrote it on a 3x5 card so she could just claim it over and over and over again. And so she went to school, she gave her little speech, and I think it was like a couple days later, she came home, they had announced the results, and she didn't get it. And she looked at me and she said, Mom, I believed in faith that I would receive it, and I didn't get it. Why? Yeah. What do you say to that? I had no idea what to say. She was devastated. I was devastated. And I went to God and I pressed in, and I know that we won't always get answers to the whys in our life. I know that. But for this particular reason and in this circumstance, I thought, I've got to have an answer for my child, God. This is not just my faith. This is the faith of my daughter. And so I pressed in for 3 days. I'm like, God, you've got to tell me. You've got to give me an answer. What do I say to her? And it was about the third day that I felt like God said, go back and read that verse again. So I did. I got my Bible out and I went back to that verse and I read it and read it. And then I felt like God said, now what doesn't it say? I'm like, He said, well, read it again and tell me what it doesn't say. And so I read it. And then all of a sudden, I realized it doesn't say when. It doesn't say when you'll receive it. It doesn't say whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you'll receive it and you will get it immediately. It doesn't say you'll get it when you hope you will. It doesn't say you'll get it when you want to, when you think you should. And you know, when you think about God's promises, I think most of them are open-ended. I mean, there is no time frame attached. And so I was so excited when Brooke got home. And I said, Brooke, God gave me an answer today when I pressed in. And I said, God told me to look at what it didn't say, and there's no time frame. And I said, so here's what I know, Brooke. You believed in faith that you would receive it. And so one day, I don't know when, but you will be on student council. And so this last year, she started school, high school, freshman, her first year in high school, and she came and told me that she, again, wanted to try out for student council. And I encouraged her. I said, Brooke, you should. I said, because someday you're going to get it. It may not be this year. It may be next year, maybe the next year, but one day you will. And so she prepared her speech, and this time it was on a ballot, and I think there were 8 or 10 other kids. And so they voted, and a couple days later she came home and she said, guess what, Mom? It was like a 4-way tie. I think it was like a 4-way tie. 3 boys and her. And I said, that's good, because I think all the girls will vote for you since you're the only girl, and then they'll vote for whatever boy they like or think is cute, or, you know, however they decide. And so I thought her chances were pretty good. But so they all voted again, and she came home so excited because she got it. And so it's just such a neat story to see that this promise was 3 years in the making. And I just realized, you know, that is what faith really is. Many of us have read the verses that talk about the fact that faith, in Hebrews, that faith is believing what you can't see, what isn't revealed yet to your senses. And that's truly what happened in this situation, that we believed that she would one day receive that promise. And it was 3 years later that she did. But it's in that gap, it's in that waiting for the fulfillment of a promise, that faith actually gets a chance to kick in, gets a chance to grow. And the Bible also says that without faith, it's impossible to please Him. And so if there aren't things in our lives that we believe that haven't happened yet, then there's no chance for faith, and then we aren't pleasing Him. And so I just want to encourage you today that if there is something in your life, a promise, something God has spoken to your heart, and you have not seen any evidence of it yet, you are like in a sweet spot. It's not very fun, but you are in a sweet spot because you're walking in faith and you're pleasing Him. And so just be encouraged today to know that when we walk in faith, we please Him. And one day, those promises will be fulfilled.